The thunder you are hearing from the skies of northern Nigeria is no longer just the sound of storms. It is the sound of a new era in global security that the Pentagon has just officially confirmed is now an ongoing military operation. For those who thought the Christmas Day airstrikes in Sokoto were a one-time warning, the latest briefing from Washington, D.C. has cleared up any confusion. The United States Department of Defense, under the direct instruction of President Donald Trump, has signaled that the mission to dismantle terrorist networks across Nigeria has transitioned from a single strike into a sustained campaign of aerial pressure. This is a massive development that changes the entire landscape of our national security, as it confirms that the eyes in the sky are not leaving anytime soon. The Pentagon's confirmation of ongoing status means that the USS Ignatius, currently stationed in the Gulf of Guinea, and the various drone bases across the Sahel are now in a state of constant readiness to strike whenever intelligence pinpointing high-value targets is verified. The gist that is currently making the rounds in diplomatic circles is that this isn't just about the Northwest anymore. While the initial fire fell on the Lakurawa and ISIS West Sahel groups in the Baoni forest of Sokoto, the Pentagon is now hinting that their mission parameters are expanding. We are hearing reports that the ongoing nature of these strikes will now include what they call active monitoring of the Middle Belt, specifically focusing on the areas in Benue and Plateau states where the slaughter of farming communities has been most prevalent. This is the fulfillment of the guns-a-blazing promise made by the Trump administration to protect vulnerable populations. The level of technology being deployed is staggering. We are talking about AI-driven surveillance that can track movement through the densest forest canopies of the north-central region, meaning there is truly nowhere left for these groups to hide. This is the first time in our history that we are seeing a global superpower commit to a long-term, kinetic air campaign on Nigerian soil, and the implications are being felt from the presidential villa in Abuja to the smallest villages in Shinkafi. As this situation develops and the missiles continue to stay in a state of ready to fire, it is more important than ever that you stay informed with the most accurate and real-time updates. If you appreciate the way we break down these complex security stories and bring you the truth that the mainstream media might be too slow to report, please take a quick moment to hit the like button. It really helps the algorithm ensure that this vital information reaches every Nigerian who needs to hear it. Also, if you want to be the very first to know when the next strike is confirmed or when the Pentagon releases new footage, please consider subscribing to the channel and turning on the notification bell. We are tracking every Truth Social update and every military briefing so that you are never left in the dark. Your engagement is what keeps this community strong, and we truly value every single subscriber who joins us in this journey for a safer Nigeria. The reaction from our own government in Abuja has been a mixture of strategic cooperation and careful diplomacy. Foreign Affairs Minister Yusuf Tuggar has been very busy engaging with US Secretary of State Marco Rubio to ensure that these ongoing strikes do not infringe upon our national sovereignty. However, the Pentagon's latest statement suggests that the US is taking a much more assertive lead than we initially thought. They are calling it a partner-led US-enabled mission, but with the level of firepower being confirmed, it is clear who is holding the remote control. The Pentagon has clarified that these strikes are surgical, meaning they are using high-precision munitions to ensure that civilian casualties are kept to an absolute minimum, a point that President Trump has emphasized repeatedly. He wants the world to know that this is a mission of strength and justice, designed to end the reign of terror that has held our country back for decades. Speculation is also rising about the specific targets currently being watched by the MQ-9 Reaper drones patrolling over states like Niger and Kaduna. Sources suggest that the Pentagon has a kill list of the top 30 bandit and insurgent leaders who have been identified as the primary drivers of the insecurity. The ongoing status means that these leaders are now living in a constant state of fear, knowing that a Tomahawk missile could find them at any moment of the day or night. This has led to a massive internal crisis within the bandit camps, with reports of desertions and internal fighting as members argue over whether to surrender or keep running. The Pentagon strategy seems to be as much psychological as it is physical. By confirming that the strikes are continuous, they are breaking the will of the insurgents before the missiles even leave the ships. But even as we celebrate the potential for an end to this madness, we must talk about the related talk that is happening on the ground. Some critics, including local clerics and traditional leaders, are worried about the long-term presence of a foreign military power in our skies. They are asking, what happens to the Nigerian military's own development if we become dependent on American technology to solve our problems? The Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, has maintained that the Nigerian army is still very much in the lead on the ground, but it is impossible to ignore the Trump factor that has accelerated the pace of these operations. The Pentagon's confirmation of ongoing status is a double-edged sword that offers immediate relief to terrorized communities, but also raises questions about our future independence in defense matters. We are also seeing a shift in the international narrative. For years, Nigeria was criticized for its human rights record, but under the current 2025 security framework, the conversation has shifted towards protection of the innocent. The US mission is being framed as a humanitarian intervention as much as a military one. This has put the terrorists in a corner where they can no longer claim to be fighting for any legitimate cause. They are being labeled as international criminals who are now the target of the world's most powerful military. The Pentagon has hinted that they are also monitoring the financial flows of these groups, suggesting that the ongoing operation will soon move from airstrikes to financial decapitation, cutting off the money that buys the bikes and the bullets. As we look towards the coming weeks, the question on everyone's lips is, where will the next strike land? With the Pentagon confirming that the operation is sustained, we could wake up any morning to news of a major camp being neutralized in Benue or a logistics hub being wiped out in Zamfara. The level of gist and speculation is at an all-time high, but the facts remain that the US has committed to seeing this through. The slaughter that President Trump spoke about is being met with a response that is as deadly as it is persistent. This is the reality of Nigeria in 2025, a country caught between the fire of a global superpower and the desperate remnants of a collapsing insurgency. What is your take on this ongoing status from the Pentagon? Do you feel more secure